Alaikum warahmatullah. So it's that time of week again. It's our usual Friday night live. So let's see who comes in for a chat. So I've just rushed in quickly so I can come on and join you. Just that camera lens wipe. Yeah, so I've just come rushed in so I can join you. I've been out just cleaning the garden. A lot of maintenance work at the moment. So trim the front hedges. Need to cut the front grass, but I just don't want to do it without some rain forecast. So hopefully we're going to get some rain forecast. Well, we've got some rain forecast this weekend, maybe if we're lucky. But the forecast seems to be changing every night. It's said that we're going to get heavy rain on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and it seems to have changed again to say that we might get a light shower on Sunday evening. So as usual, we're broadcasting across YouTube and on TikTok live. So let's see who's coming in. So we've got Jason saying on TikTok saying, keep up the good work. Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. Ryan's Garden Diaries over on YouTube. You've got some rain on the way in Wales. Wicked, great to hear. Absolutely brilliant. We've got some forecast. Well, we had the heavy storms forecast for Saturday night and then Sunday morning, but then it's now saying that we might get light shower on Sunday, and then maybe a little bit of rain on Monday. So we'll just see how things are going, guys. If you're in here, hit those like buttons for me. That'll be really good, and share the stream out as well. Ben, how are you doing, mate? You're in Norfolk, hoping for rain. I think we're all in the same boat. We've all got our fingers crossed, hoping for rain at the moment. Alan, football's on. Who's playing, Alan? Oh, you've got lucky you. Look at him showing off with all the rain he's got. Do the chilies need some rain? I think the thing is, chilies are those kind of plants that they're typically an understory plant, so they can do with dry conditions. They prefer slightly dry conditions. So the way I grow my chilies is I soak them. I give them a really good soaking, and then I won't water them for a week to 10 days. And when the soil's feeling really dry again, then I'll give them another soaking, and I'll just leave them to completely dry out. And I won't water them until I know they need water. So yeah, that's the way I do my chilies. But with things like tomatoes and things, because it's the same family: chilies, tomatoes, aubergines, potatoes. They're very similar family. But with tomatoes and stuff like that, they need a good water a lot more regularly compared to chilies. Chilies prefer the drier side. Let's see. We've got a good few people. Molly May, how are you doing? What time of the day has people been watering the veg? I'm gonna do it at 5 a.m. or is the evening the best? See, there's a lot of discussion about when's best to water the plant. So the good thing about watering in the morning is you water the plant, and then if you water excessively, it's got the whole day for the sun to dry the plant and the plant to dry off, and it not to any water on the leaves can evaporate. So that's that benefit, and the plant can use it while it's growing. But the other good thing about watering, and the good thing about watering it in the evening, is that it gives, because the sun's not drying it out, the soil's taking it in. The plant does grow during the night. It does do a lot of growing during the night, so it'll suck up a lot more water, and the water will be a lot more available in the soil, but it won't give it a chance to dry out. My answer to this question is you water when it's most convenient for you. Now, if you need to water in the morning, then water in the morning. If you need to water in midday, water in midday. I personally don't like watering in the middle of the day or when the sun's at its peak, when it's really hot. I don't like watering at that time. But if that's the only time that you can water, then that's the time that you got to water. Do you know? Go for it that way. So we've got purple sliders. Walaikum salam. Did you try the new halal pizza from? No, I don't know anything about that place. So mobility scooter saying, have an exquisite day. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Where else are we? So Matt B, how are you doing, bro? Hope you're keeping well. We're hoping for rain on Sunday. I think we're I haven't checked the forecast today, but yesterday it said that we might get some rain late on last night. Late on Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and the forecast had changed again to say that we might get it on Sunday night. So we'll see what's going on. Sleepy Mangy saying I'm so funny. What? Oh, yeah, am I? But so am I Bengali? Yes, I am. What's this thing telling me to swipe that way for? Oh, there we go. So you love yeah, I saw that joke. That was pretty good. The thing is, that's the way you've got to do it. You know, it's nice to give each other flowers. Husband and wife give each other flowers. It keeps things nice. It keeps things good. So we might be having two different conversations because I'm live on TikTok and on YouTube for those that you don't know. So if I'm switching between comments, then that's what I'm doing. So Ryan saying, will watering or keeping the soil damp hurt them in any way? Not really. If they're really young plants, then if you keep it really wet, then what can happen is chili roots can rot. So once a plant is established, it's not going to hurt it. But in that early stage, don't keep it soggy, really wet. So keep your videos representing the Bengalis the right way compared to the idiocy in TikTok. There's a lot of stupidness on TikTok. The thing is, there's not very much wholesome content on there, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do. Is just the thing that we try and do is we show our family working the way our family's working. And that's it. So you see us with our flaws, our mistakes, and everything else, but we just have a go at stuff. So Ali, Uncle, my pepper pots, I put it half semi-decomposed home compost, and top off I put store-bought compost. I'm worried the roots will. Why are you worried the roots are going to rot? Semi-decomposed home compost, and the top. Why are you worried the roots are going to rot? Because that's the sort of strategy I'd go with. Look, I've made a video for TikTok, and I'll put it on the Facebook group. Because someone was asking, we were talking about bokashi composting. Now, bokashi composting is absolutely brilliant at finding a way for people who can't compost in other ways to compost cooked materials. Now, the way I compost cooked materials, or the way I compost the majority of my kitchen scraps, is I just bury them straight into the ground, or I stick them in my worm bin, and my worms will eat it. If I'm using containers, then a little bit of wood chip, either fresh material or semi-broken down material, and then it's all my compost at the top 6 inches. So just leave it like I normally just leave it like that, and then you just allow the plants to grow. And as the plants are growing down into that fresh material, by the time the roots have reached it, your fresh materials turn into material that the plant's going to help break down, and that's in turn is going to feed the plant, and you're going to have this continuous cycle. One's going to benefit. What's your honest option of peat-free pre-compost? I find it dries out very quickly and then needs to be soaked, otherwise water runs straight through it. See, Ben, I think the peat-free composts need a lot of improvement. I mean, I make pretty much all of my own compost. We we buy very little. There's a few good bags from Lidl that I saw last year. We bought a few bags, that was all right. My mum bought something called what's it called? Begins with, I think it begins with an E. I can't remember. But anyway, my mum bought one bag, and I thought it was quite poor. And Remingtons or something like that, maybe. That's the bag that my mum bought. I thought it was quite poor. I've seen a lot of the stuff that a lot of people are buying, and the peat-free is really poor quality. I think what peat-free suppliers are doing is they're rushing through compost to meet the demand, because there's a huge demand out there. I think they're just rushing through and capitalizing instead on trying to making as much money as they can, rather than making a good product for people. It's possible to make a really good peat-free compost. My compost is peat-free, it's homemade, and my plants are doing pretty well. So that's the thing that I'd say about a lot of peat-free compost. You see, I think the manufacturers are just taking us for mugs. It smells like it smells like compost, and there's small flies. So it smells like manure. That's why. Okay, so there's probably a lot of manure in it. One thing that, if you're worried about it, maybe add some kind of something to make it drain a little bit better. Vermiculite, sharp sand, a little bit of your sift off some of that semi broken down compost that you're talking about, and the stuff that you get that's freshly, the really fine stuff that you've got sifted off, mix that with the compost that you've bought in, and then use that to plant in. That might be a way of making that stuff that you've bought in even better and work for you. Guys, we've got a good few people on TikTok. If you won't mind hitting those likes for me, that'd be really good. And the same as well on YouTube. We've got, make sure you hit those likes. And if anyone's on the Facebook group, just share the streams in there as well for me. That'd be really good. Another question: I was given horse manure, and I normally put it in water, and then use that water. My chilies seem to like it, but I think that's a fantastic idea. I've got a video, one of the early videos that I did. One of the early videos that I did on YouTube was a video. It's got a thumbnail called "Free Weed Tea," and one of the suggestions that I did in there was using manure. Just stick it in women's stocking, a lady's stocking. Just stick a load of manure in there, and then just chuck that into the water and just leave it in there, and then just use that to plant, water plants. It's absolutely rampacked full of nitrogen. So if you want to give your plants a boost and get them to really shoot off, that's a really good minute. So I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Growing Plotty, how are you doing? Dandy Mom, Jaskaran, how are you doing? Thanks very much for all joining. We've got a good few people on TikTok. Cameron, T, all these people stopping in and jumping out again. That's the way it is over there. So let's see. I dry my chilies and freeze them. See, we do a lot of pickling. If you don't know our chili pickles at our achar, then check out our website. You can see our naga, our garlic, and our chili pickle, and really good stuff. So Sleeping Mang said I spammed you with 500 likes. I appreciate that. Thanks very much. Can I use tomato right for raspberry? You can use tomato right for anything that fruits. It's a fertilizer that's made for fruiting plants. So raspberries, chilies, tomatoes, aubergines. You'll be fine with most of those things. I think they're doing some organic varieties now. So maybe check those out as well. Do you grow bitter gourds? Absolutely, I do. Yeah, we do. Have you tried growing them before? Peat-free at the moment is bad substitute. I've not perfected my own compost yet. How can I stop? onion fly, I think that's what it is. I find little casters. Okay, you got allium leaf miner. Okay, allium leaf miner is a nightmare once you get it. See, one of the things that I like to do is allow chickens, or if you've got chickens, allow them to free range on your beds. Because of chicken lockdown the last couple of years, we weren't able to do it. One thing they'll do is they'll scratch the soil up. They'll eat a lot of the sort of eggs that are incubated in the soil or hibernating over winter. So if you're going to allow your chickens to free range over, you're going to eat, expose some of those creepy crawlies to other predators, so other birds that will come in and do the work as well. Now, if you allow that, then the good thing that you're going to get is the eggs won't hatch. You'll break some of those pest cycles, and that'll stop things like beet leaf miner, allium leaf miner, or it'll help at least prevent it. But they are a nightmare once they're there. So, question: what's the plans in the garden this weekend? So tomorrow, we're putting up a new arch thing for my bottle gourds to climb up. The old one, I've somehow managed to. I was going to rip it down, but because we had a couple of plants that just needed something to climb on, I've somehow managed to secure it just for temporary. I think it'll last maybe 6 months before it collapses. It's rotten. It's in a bad state. But I'm building a new one. But I'll show you. I'm going to do a video on this. That's going to be the video for this weekend. I'm going to make a nice big pergola style arch. Again, it's from reclaimed timber. A lot of recycling going on. My wife's out there painting the beams at the moment, so she's helping me that way. I swear that woman's does a lot of great stuff for me. It gives me a lot of support and puts up with my craziness. But yeah, so we're going to be building that, and hopefully build another wood store. That's another thing, and get a load of the wood stacked. How long do you dry garlic? How long do you dry garlic in mini greenhouse or on full sun? So I dry garlic. So we'll normally dry garlic in the sun, and we'll put it out every day for about 6 weeks. We'll plait it, leave it out. Once the stalks are dry, that's good enough for us, and it's good enough to hang in the shed. How are we over from food forest permaculture? How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. So, Ashraf Rawat, walaikum salam. Any advice on trying to eradicate fungus off apple trees? What kind of fungus? So copper, there's a copper kind of wash that you can get, and that's really good to wash your plants in the winter, and then just allow it to soak into the plant. Powdery mildew, sour milk's really good for powdery mildew. So we sometimes get powdery mildew on our courgettes, and rotten milk, sour milk. Just water that down and spray your plants with that. That's a really good way of Alina's asking to join my live. No, thank you. Bye bye. But sour milk is really good to join. Sour milk is really good for powdery mildew. But if you want to go down the chemical route, there are some washes that you can get for your trees during winter. So my early potatoes are going green after a week of taking them out of my buckets. Any reasons? So potatoes, any exposure to light will turn them green. The younger potatoes, the fresher potatoes, they're really more prone to going green. So the best place you can keep your potatoes is under the soil. So if you're not ready to eat them and you can afford to leave them in the ground, leave them in the ground or leave them in your container. But if you are going to harvest them, get them into like a jute bag or a hessian bag, and then keep that in the dark somewhere cool, about 10 degrees, and that's the best way to store them. To make the Mr. Naga pickle, we make something better than Mr. Naga. Our Naga achar is a lot better than Mr. Naga. Mr. Naga for me tastes very chemically. Ours is quite, it's quite different. It's quite fresh. You can actually taste the Naga in it, not just the chemicals. Have you thought about having an allotment? Ben, I've thought about an allotment. I took on an allotment a few years ago, but I ended up giving it up because of the way I am and because of the way my life is. I just haven't got time to go away from my home. Our garden in our backyard is quite big, so I'm quite lucky there. It's probably close to 3/4 of a plot, that sort of size that I'm growing on in my garden anyway. If I had to go to an allotment, I'd have to physically move from home to go to the allotment, and that would just stop me from doing it because I come home from work, and then after work I'm teaching up until 11 o'clock in the evening, and finding time to go off away from home would just prevent me from doing that. And I like having the family around. I like having the kids climbing all over me. So I'll be digging a potato in, or I'll be harvesting something, and I've got a kid hanging off my back, or Dad, tell me this, or ask me this, or how getting them involved. If I was going somewhere else, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I thought about an allotment. The dream is for a small holding. Just with everything that's going on with the economy at the moment, small holdings way off the thing. So I have loads of issues with allium leaf miner. It loves red barren onions and didn't touch the garlic in the same bed. I like to know the bitter gourd tastes like and what you do with it. So bitter gourd tastes very bitter, just as in the name suggests. It is very bitter. It's quite an acquired taste. I mean, when I was younger, I used to hate it. Now I like it in small amounts, and we make a bhaji out of it. So just fry it up with onions and just sort of saute it. Okay. Bobby, how are you doing, mate? Thanks very much for coming in. What do I do for work? So I work as an accountant. Yeah. Well, I work for myself. If you have chickens and you need to keep them locked up, could you make a little chicken tractor to run to put them out when you need them during the day, and then return them to the main coop at night? See, that's one of the things that I used to do. It's not quite a chicken tractor, but it was just a chicken wire fence. So it was a movable coop. So because my garden's uneven and my beds are uneven, I wouldn't be able to wheel a tractor around. So what I did was I made this movable coop, and basically I stake it in, and then I've got a temporary coop where I want it. But because bird flu was really bad last year, even being out on that, you've got wild birds landing on your beds and eating from that bed, and all that sort of stuff. So if you put your chickens on there was a chance of catching bird flu. Last year, for the last couple of years, it's been really bad. It's starting to calm down now, and they've uplifted the chicken lockdowns. Thanks, Howie. I appreciate that. Milwana, how are you doing? I've just harvested my overwintered Japanese onions and some garlic. Not a bad crop on my onion, any succession crop. So if you've got a squash, I'd follow onions with squash. Or tomatoes even, they'd be fine to go in. What else are we planting? If you've got brassicas to go in, your overwintering brassicas, they can still go in. Pretty much anything can go in after onions. You can follow them with close to anything. Ned Kelly, how are you doing? And Hassan Ali over on TikTok. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I've got loads of flowers on Morona beans, but no pods are setting. I'm keeping them watered, but I haven't noticed any bees around. It's the dry weather. So the dry weather stopped a lot of insects popping around. I mean, we had some, I think they're called poached egg flowers, and that was buzzing with loads of bees on that. But now that the poached egg flowers, some of them are starting to die because it's just too hot for them, and they're coming up to the end of their life anyway. What's happening is a lot of bees just aren't coming. A lot of insects are just not hatching. They're not. The ground's too hard and dry, and they're just not. Yeah, they're just not living their life cycle. That's why you're not seeing as many birds around, because they can't feed on the insects. I've seen a lot of people commenting saying that they've found nests of birds that have just died, because whereas an adult bird can go and get water from a pond, or it can get water from a dish that someone's left out, a baby bird gets all its water from the insects and the grubs and the caterpillars and all of these kind of things that the adult takes back. So because the insects aren't there, the birds aren't there, and it's just having this knock-on situation. I think things are looking quite sad at the minute. How's the log collection going? It's going pretty good. I need to build another log store, so to get us through winter, I think the traditional way of measuring logs is in cords. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know exactly how to work the cords and stuff out. So rather than that, I'm estimating that I'm going to need 6 pallet loads of wood to last me through winter. So at the moment, I've made 3 pallet log stores, and I've got them stacked up. And we've got loads of logs that we need to split and get more stacked up. So where else are we? So Ben, you take care. We'll see you again soon. Graham, you made it. Thanks very much for coming in. Appreciate it. Hope everything's good with you. Hon Opiemi, sending me flowers. Thank you very much. Question. Ryan's asking a question. Do you ever buy chilies from the shop? Yeah, I mean we do buy chilies from the shop. There's sometimes when we're green chilies as part of our cooking. We want fresh chilies all the way through the year, so it's not always easy, because during winter as well, not during late winter after we've gone through all our harvested ones and we've got the stuff that's in the fridge, my wife wants fresh chilies to be chewing on, or we want fresh chilies in our cooking. So yeah, we do buy fresh chilies, even though we have stuff that's in our freezer that we can use to give it flavor, but nothing can match that fresh one. David Falligan, I know I messed up your first bit of your name, so I'm sorry about that. Bless you. Thank you very much. Taqwa Thobes, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well, everyone. So Ned, I've just had a thought. Hand pollinate them. Get a toothbrush or a paintbrush and just tickle your flowers. Just go around doing some of the work that the bees are trying to do. Or yeah, do the work that the bees would normally do. The sad thing is this year I'm seeing loads of dead bees. Yeah. we've seen it. We saw that last year as well, but this year we're seeing it, I think, even worse. And it's again over here, the government's allowed the use of neonicotinoids again. We don't have a massive what's it called, industry around beet, sugar beet or any of that sort of thing, but they want to use neonicotinoids or keep neonicotinoids on that. So it's sad. It's sad the governments have allowed to use it. I mean, if we can't grow stuff in a safe, ecological way that's safe for everything else around us, remember, if these things are killing other things, then they'll be building up in us and they'll be harming us. Yeah. So is it? We need to move away from these kind of things. If we can't do it, then we shouldn't be growing it. That's my personal view. Salika wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thanks very much for coming in. Keep tapping, keep sharing. Inshallah, jazakallah khair. Yeah, absolutely. If you wouldn't mind sharing, that'd be great. Rata wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Family is very good. Thank you very much. Where else have we got? So growing plotty bit of gourd is very healthy. Yeah, absolutely, full of antioxidants, really good, especially for diabetic people as well. Eating raw bitter gourds is really good for people with diabetes. I've seen you in Bangla Farah. You've seen me. If you're in Leeds, then you probably have. Yeah.
So Bangla Farah.
It's near Shah Jalal. Murido, the beauty of TikTok, get to see my young brother from Mid Road, mashallah. So I'm not sure who that is, but yeah, see, this is the other thing about TikTok or more social media. People can put on any name they want, but if you mention Mid Road, then you must know me, and you must have known me for a very long time, ever since I was a baby, because that's where I was born. Yeah.
Sheffield.
In Sheffield, yeah. Same name as
Did
your.
you have a friend who lived on Idle? You said you all used to go crazy and go look for
Okay.
red currant bushes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any friends?
What?
On the street when you lived in Sheffield?
Yeah, I had loads of friends.
Maybe
Same name as your
friends?
brother, older than you. Okay, mashallah. So where have we gone?
What's the same name?
Graham, Andy Mum, I'm hoping to plant a small buddleia bush in my big container next to them. See, if you're going for buddleia, oh subhanallah, no way, mashallah. So, yeah. Oh, I hope you're good, and I hope your family and everyone's good. It'd be nice to see you guys. I saw you, yeah, I saw your brother not so long ago, but it'd be nice to see you guys. Yeah. Oh wow. uh, so so garchua as a garlic to grow is massive. Um, Snails are eating my corn seedlings is annoying. See, this year what I've gone for is I've gone for copper rings. So we've got copper rings around squash and around squash and around sweet corn, around plants that really gets attacked by slugs, and they seem to have done really well. Let's say one day have to meet. Have you got my number? If your brother has, yeah, if you're ever up this way, you're more than welcome. Come over, and it'll be nice to see you. It would be really nice to see you. Do I know Mr. Mahmood? Depends on which Mr. Mahmood. I probably there's a few Mahmoods that I know, but depends on who you're talking about. Graham, I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. No problem at all. I'm glad you made it. See, you were waiting for lives, and I was off ill, and then when I was back, you were busy. So now we're finally back here. Um, Ike, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Glad you made it. Um, so my dog is a hunter. She's about 15 squirrels and chased deer. She caught a muntjac and ragged it in front of us. Oh man, um, what do you do when you live in a zoo? Uh, See, when you're talking about that, we've got a kitten. I don't know if you guys have seen it. My kids brought it on the live last time, but we've had this kitten now for about 3 weeks, and she's only about that big. But she's chasing one of my hens around today. So I've got this hen that gets bullied, so she gets pampered and gets to free range when everyone else is locked up. And this little kitten's chasing around this massive chicken, and I was thinking, we've got this massive chicken. Um, if the chicken gets a little bit violent, she'll absolutely deck you. But this little kitten's like absolutely vicious, trying to hunt down this. Yeah, it's funny as anything to see. Um, so grow tayberry is very good. So yeah, tayberry I haven't tried. I grew loganberry a few years ago, and then I ended up pulling the plant out because it was just a little bit too bitter for me. Yeah, it was just they weren't as sweet as blackberries and they weren't as sweet as raspberries. They were just a little bit bitter. So loganberries got pulled out, and I never went for tayberries because I thought that that they're a similar cross. Um, so is Premier Seeds still good, Graham? Or I still use Premier Seeds. Um, yeah, I still like using Premier Seeds. Um, I just ate a lemon drop pepper. It tastes very similar to Naga, very floral. But see, lemon, I don't think the tastes are very similar. You can definitely taste the citrusy flavor. It's got quite a distinct fragrance. But yeah. Anyway, we tried Hugelkultur technique. Yeah. The thing is, with Hugelkultur, there's a few things to be wary about. Um, it's good for growing in places that are prone to getting wet, but at the same time, when you've got really wet soil or you've got really wet logs, then you've got to be careful of the bed turning really acidic. Um, it's good for producing some good result. You can get some good results off it, but people are making it with fresh logs and stuff like that when it should be made traditionally with rotting logs and things that are breaking down. So instead of using logs, I use a lot of wood chips in the bottom of my beds, in the bottom of my containers, sorry, and I use like Hugel pots, that kind of technique. But then I use a lot of fresh green material. So at the same, yeah, that's the other thing that I was going to say is if you're making a big hugel bed, then if you're putting in loads of woody material and stuff that's going to need a lot of nitrogen to break down because you are burying it. You've seen me use a lot of wood chip on the surface of my soil, and that's not causing nitrogen depletion. But because you're burying the wood, it is going to cause nitrogen depletion from any compost or anything like any growing medium that you're going to put on the top. So you're going to have to put in loads and loads of manure or loads and loads of grass or lots of a rich source of nitrogen to help break that wood down and stop your nitrogen leaching out the rest of your soil. but it's good for if you need free draining beds, then it's a good, it's quite good. You can use the same technique to fill raised beds. If you've got 6 inches of if you've got 2 foot of bed to fill, put in 6 inches of wood chip at the bottom, put in 6 inches of green material, and then put the rest as your growing material, and then you're just creating compost at the bottom. So rather than Hugelkultur, think of like a Hugelkultur cross compost pile. So you can Hugelkultur slash compost pile, and you're doing 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. Sorry to tell you, still oh, Alan, you're lucky, man. You're lucky. Can you do a mukbangs with your homegrown produce? As some people may not know, some fruit and vegetables taste like. I can do. The thing is, I always found it a bit weird watching people eat. Do you know? Yeah. If people, if do you want to watch me eat? Do you want to watch me eat stuff? I always thought it was a bit. I never got the. Right. Okay. We'll do something. We'll do something. Maybe strawberries. Yeah. See, the next best thing is doing some what's the thing? Cooking videos. What's your thoughts on MA Gang? What's MA Gang? So if I don't know what it is, then yeah. What is MA Gang? Yeah. So I've had germination issues on some kale from Premier, but not on the whole really good. Yeah, I mean, we've had some germination issues with some seeds this year, but so it's a Bengali gang established near Shahjalal district in Leeds in Bangladesh. I've not really heard of them. So I'm growing tobacco. The seeds are so small and slugs love them. See, yeah, have you got the tobacco plant growing yet? I remember you mentioning it a while ago. I mean, it's an impressive looking plant. It's quite good, but just remember it is allelopathic. I have a question for anyone who knows squash. Why would a squash only put on male flowers? I have 2 separate zucchinis. But see, I might get into trouble for this one, but yeah, I'm gonna say it. So yeah, just like in real life, the men arrive first, and then, as always, they're stood hanging around waiting, and then the female flowers turn up afterwards. So most squash, they do put on a lot of male flowers to start off with, and then once the plants settle down, they'll put on their female flowers. So the men are just hanging around waiting for the females to arrive. That, just like in real life, that's the same with the squash plant. When they're more mature, they start making. Yeah, there we go. So every one of my Calvin Nero germinators. See, I've had some issues, not so much with germination, but with brassicas because of the early. So we had that really wet patch, and then we had the really dry patch, and now the heat. So we planted out loads of kohlrabi, loads of cabbages, loads of kohlrabi, cabbages, quite a lot of brassicas. We planted them out, and the heat's just roasted them. They've absolutely completely destroyed them. Yeah. You okay, buddy?
I'm tired.
You're tired. So Abdul Haq, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Still care about them in there. Never a lover of kale. Which type should I try for it? Is it like Savoy cabbage? See, Calvanero is the one that everyone likes. So, or it's called Black Russian or Tuscany kale sometimes. Yeah, that's the sort of variety that is the most desirable. The one that I'd stay away from is curly kale. I mean, that just tastes like eating grass.
I
Yeah.
haven't eaten grass.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'd say about that. Samuel, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Let's see, Claire never tried. Oh, okay. Where are we going? Question: how many chili plants do you plant a year? Do you count or just go for as many as possible? I go for as many as possible. I grow about this year. I'm growing a little bit less. Last year I grew about 30 varieties. This year I'm growing a little bit less. I think we're about 20-ish varieties this year. But we'll grow a couple of hundred plants quite comfortably. Yeah, we grow a lot. Yeah, yeah. So growing
Can I go in my pajamas?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Where am I going? Does your straw store that can't get sleepy? Ever get wet in the rain? Your chicken keeping videos great, really inspired. So yeah, the cat still lives in that. So we've got a few cats that live in our garden. There's one that lives in that straw in my sort of hay shed. There's one that lives just bit at the bottom of the compost pile, and there's one that I don't know how, but it somehow gets into my shed every day. And then when you open the door in the morning, it shoots past you at about 90 miles an hour. But the problem is, it just wheezes everywhere in the shed, and the shed stinks. Yeah, that's the only sad thing about it. But yeah, we've got a few cats that are regulars in our garden. Our big ginger Tom's still there, and he scares the chickens every time. Yeah. Let me see. Catching up with some comments. So Graham and Claire having a good chat. So Justin, I don't know. Did I see your comment before? I don't know, but I don't know if I said hello to you either. But if I didn't, hello. Hope you're good. I attacked my beds because of mare's tail. The first year layer was wood chip. See, I put loads of wood chip. I grow in pretty much wood chip. Yeah, I put loads and loads of wood chip down. So most of my beds started off with maybe 6 inch wood chips on them, a foot of wood chip on them. So one day I'll do a video on my crop rotation method. But on my beds, my first year of my growing is I start off with growing potatoes, and if you know the way I grow potatoes in wood chip, so it's at least a foot, 18 inches of wood chip on the bed to start off with. and then once that breaks down over the years, it becomes luscious soil, and then I'll just rotate that across the garden, so different beds will get that treatment. Are you proud to be British? What a stupid question for a gardening chat. Yeah, that's a bit of a stupid question for a gardening chat. Javeria, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Manure and compost. Yeah. Yeah, so if you're putting loads of manure on top of wood chip and then putting your compost up on top of that, yeah, absolutely brilliant. You know, crab apples, right? You know, I've always seen the variety. You know, I've always seen the varieties, the little mini apples. You know, the shape of a mini apple. But when we were kids, there were these like little oval crab apples, and I've never been able to find one of those trees after I became an adult, because we used to love munching on them. The crab apples, but they're an oval shape rather than the little mini apples. If I could find one of them, I'd be all over that. You know, I'd make sure I've got one of them in my garden. So I want to grow my own tomatoes. How should I start? So it's a little bit too late to start tomatoes from seeds now. Get your tomato plants bought, buy them from somewhere. Yeah, that's going to be the way that you're going to get tomatoes this year. Buy some established plants. It's too late to start from seed. And have a look at the last video that I did. Well, not the last video, a couple of videos ago. And if you go over to my YouTube, you'll see loads of good guides on growing tomatoes. Kale has been over 5 weeks now, mate. Rain forecast this weekend in West Yorkshire. Bring it on, Chris. You're talking, yeah. See, the forecast changing, and it's gone from being real heavy downpours to being slight showers, which is getting a little bit disappointing. I just hope it doesn't change anymore. Well, I hope we get some real downpours actually. Rob's Allotment Gardening. Rob, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. I'll cook a recipe from your produce. We'll do some cooking videos. The only problem is the cooking videos never seem to do very well, especially on YouTube. Yeah, they always seem to flop. But we'll do some cooking videos this winter. Let's see what else is on here. So Art Walker is saying tap into that community. Are you talking about mukbangs? If it is, then am I way back in the chat on YouTube or something? I think I might be. So let's move down a little bit. If I miss your comments, I do apologise. Some of my hot pepper leaves have also been scorched, but I think it's not too bad. See, one of my hyacinth beans has been completely killed by the heat. So we normally grow hyacinth beans in our greenhouse, but we've been getting temperatures of over 45 degrees in there. And there's one hyacinth bean that was just on right at the edge, and that's where it gets a lot of sun for the most of the day. And I think, you know, the sun's been magnified through the glass, and it's just completely killed up. You know, just burnt it. It's dry. It's dead. which is quite sad. I mean, the thing is, hyacinth beans, they can handle heat, but they need a bit of humidity. They need a lot of water and a lot of water in the air. And like in a lot of the subcontinent, they get a lot of a lot of water from the air. The leaves can do something called transpiration, and they can take water through the leaves rather than just through the roots. So that's the thing that we're missing at the moment. Um, some of my hot pepper leaves also. I read that one. Um, Derek, how are you doing? Glad you made it over to made it over on the live. I appreciate you coming in. Neville, walaikum wassalam. Long time no see. Hope you keep well. Um, Samosa man is in come to samosa man. If you got some samosas for me, I'll come. Inshallah, I'll come for Maghrib. Inshallah. Um, I've just had one desperado. Um, what was that? There's a funny noise there. I don't know what that was. Okay. Mahmoud Rafiq, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing? Hope you're keeping well. Uh, uh, so Derek saying, does anyone have the same black fly problem as me? Really bad. Derek, we're having not so much black fly, but green fly, and we're getting lots of problems with a red aphid. Absolutely nightmare on my chilies. They really set me back this year. Um, it's because we're all northerners like you. I've lost the chat. I don't, Claire. I don't know what that's a response to. Can you grow carrot in just sand? You can, but the only problem is it's going to lack a little bit of nutrition, so you're going to have to top that up somewhere. Um, see, how are the chilies I gave you? See, we've Graham, because of everything that happened. I've I've made up a lot of messes up with the labeling, so I'm gonna have to find out once they mature which ones have made it and which ones haven't. Because we've had problems with aphids, and we've had problems with me just neglecting the garden for a couple of months because of the election. So I'm once the chilies ripen, then I'll tell you how they came on. But a lot of the plants, I've got loads of varieties, but just without labels. That's the one thing that I'm struggling with. Uh, I'm not sure there's a comment deleted at the end. Yeah, leave it deleted if your call. I'm seeing the fallout after that. There's two trees on our site. One is normal little apple, and one is the no way. Um, Claire, Claire, where are you? And I want one of these oval crab apples, man. We used to munch on them when we were kids. They've got they can be really sweet. They can get to sort of that size, and they can be quite sweet. Yeah, um, I want some of them. Sorry, I've just Q. Walaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum. Long time no see. Hope you're keeping well. My tomato plants have got black fly. I've tried the oil washing up liquid and water mixture, and it's not worked. Anything else I can try? So a nuclear option would be wood ash. So you can dust it. Dust the whole tomato plant with wood ash. Are you sure it's black fly and not sort of fungus gnats? Yeah. If it is black fly, then go for a nuclear option and wood ash. That'll get rid of a lot of stuff. Um, it'll pretty much melt anything it comes in contact with. I had to climb in the water boat yesterday. No way. Rain in West Yorkshire from Monday to Thursday. The thing is, when you look at the map, all the rain clouds just sort of skip around Leeds. They're at the bottom of Leeds, and then they're past Leeds, and you hardly get them in Leeds for very long. How many hours do you spend in the garden a week? See, I live for the garden. I like to. This is my place of just being me. So anytime I can get, I'm out there. So weekends, pretty much from the moment I wake up till the moment where we're going to bed, I'm in the garden. The full family's in the garden with us. Weekdays, unless I bunk off work. Yeah, if I'm having a quiet day at work, or if I'm just not feeling it, then if I bunk off work and I come home, then yeah, but it's mainly just weekends. See, when I run out of things to do, I just go and sift compost, or go and turn my compost pile, or just chop wood, or just do something. I'm not the kind of person who can just sit still. So, like you get loads of people who can just sit and relax. They can sit in a hammock. I'd sit in a hammock for maybe 5 minutes, have a glass of Coke, and then say, right, now I've got to get up and go do something else. Yeah, I'm not a person who can sit very still for very long. Um, so skip to the end of the chat because we've gone past our 9 o'clock mark. Right, guys, we've passed that 9 o'clock mark. I'm gonna call it a night here. It's been lovely to catch up with everyone. It's nice that people got in. But yeah, it's good to see you all. Make sure you hit that like and watch out for the video on Sunday. And we're gonna do a little bit of building work. So yeah, we're gonna build a new trellis arch thing for my bottle goats. So just keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you then. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. How do you end this? There we go on the TikTok. No, fat fingers won't do it. So and that on YouTube, yes, and